crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
The penetrator. Ah, come on, look, because I always went the farthest into the target, goddammit. Libya, Tunisia, Lebanon, it was me, pal. I was always first in, last out.
This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open.
Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Infinitely tired! Our very own guardian of the void, Lady Mist! The Prince of French's Prince Persia! Roll Tide, King now roll tide! Project Cambridge! Our favorite over on YouTube for a computer! Ghost Rider! Greetings, program! Nighthawk! Larry! Next one! Project Cambridge! Eric O'Sullivan! Undead Promise!
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a great start to their week. It's Monday. Yeah, and that means it's time for Zero Hour with Stone Loki and that alien of aliens that you love, Zeropium. Good morning.
Love? I don't know. Maybe some, not all. But man,
What is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. I'm even doing the head bob thing. Yeah, can you hear that? All right. Oh man, we crazy up in this shiznit. So that's oh my god, Loki, the grand master of getting the blood pumping in the morning in all directions, north and south. Good morning, my brother. Good morning, chat. It is a beautiful day. Yes, it is. It is great to see you all again.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Kronos says I don't trust aliens. Well, I don't trust Kronos's.
Yeah, touche,
sir.
Only the crinkle heads come from Kronos.
There's a chat. Yes, Kronos.
There is a chat. Yes.
What is a Kronos?
Baby, don't clink me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's woggly-eyed Wendy.
Oh god. What
I
is
want you
love,
to hurt
Zero?
me, to hurt me some more. Ha!
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I have a will for survival, so you can hurt me and hurt me some more. Because this is pain. It's only pain when that furry, freaky ass bitch is around. So, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So, some of you may have heard recently that Wizards of the Coast is going to start cracking down on any homebrewed content, any homebrew expansions, any homebrew art, any homebrew anything concerning D&D. So basically, the idea here is sure you can make art. Sure, you can do little expansion things, and they've never jumped on anybody's ass before. Anything, they're gonna try and go after for copyright infringement for D&D. They will try and monetarily squeeze you for anything that they believe you have stolen profits from them. I mean, this is a $1 billion business that made $150 million last year, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm just talking about the D&D board game aspect.
It's
it is a $1
pretty
billion business, but they're only making about 100 to 150 million. And some people obviously are going to say, that's a lot of money, Loki. Absolutely, that's a lot of money. And they're charging you $50 for a handbook. The thing is, everybody's charging you $50 for a handbook. I mean, you look, say you go to Amazon. So you go over to Amazon, you can probably get one of their $50 books that sell for $50 in the store. You can get it on Amazon for about $45. Go look at a BattleTech book. It's going to be about $45, $45 to $50. Usually they'll be on sale. It'll say, $59.99, and they'll sell it for $47, $46, $45, whatever it is. Those books, all of them, no matter what you're playing, Pathfinder, D&D, BattleTech, whatever it is, those books are expensive. Warhammer, same thing. So they do not want anybody doing homebrew content. And it honestly reminds me of what Paramount did with Star Trek concerning fan films.
God.
No fan content.
Yeah, we remember going that as it was happening, like firsthand. Not as creators, obviously, but supporters of fan creations and things like that. And man, the absolute list of demands that Paramount was throwing out there was basically putting every creator in every type of handcuff imaginable. It was just absolutely brutality.
Arwen asked a very good question here. I thought that was the point, to make up your own shit, especially in RPG tabletop.
Exactly. Yeah, you can create your own stories, create your own environments, all within the realm of the materials that are provided to you. And I think the one, like, I'm not the most educated person when it comes to D&D, and God knows I'm not educated when it comes to content creation. But we live in a world where it's accessible to everybody. And I think that's kind of what is now very commonplace, unfortunate side of being a content creator and also being a producer, a corporate producer of such material. When you have platforms that are available to absolutely everyone, you can get millions of people on board who are spreading the knowledge and creations of your corporate things that you have done, so that's pretty much free advertising, gets more eyes on the product. But at the same time, the double-edged sword, here we are now where people are just getting nickeled and dimed for copyright laws and all that kind of thing. And, I think that's the rather unfortunate state of where the online world is right now, because you got all these people that want to enjoy the content, and you've got the, copyright holder saying, not so fast, whip out your pocketbooks and shit like that.
Man Squatch says, Loki, I found my mom's first edition Gary Gygax chainmail manual. It was printed by hand and stapled. How far they have fallen. Apparently, a D20 is gatekeeping. Yes, a D20 dice is gatekeeping. To have to buy a D20 die, which you could get a whole pack for like $5. That's gatekeeping because it's forcing people to pay for something to be a part of your system.
Yeah, no free rides anymore.
So, how does this transition to other things? Well, we've talked a little bit about Star Trek. Star Wars is also another one. Someone threw that one up there. Yes, Lucasfilm went after. This is why you do your own stuff. Forget doing stuff. I understand fan films are fun. Oh, we're gonna make the Star Trek bridge, and we're gonna do this, and yada yada yada. You just end up getting sued by Paramount. You try and make a Star Wars film, you end up getting sued by Lucasfilm. So you don't just do your own stuff. Come up with your own story and do your own stuff. Here's where I think this is a huge gray area. So some of you may remember the name of this game. Some of you won't. There was a game back in the day called Max Payne. Anybody remember Max Payne?
I remember. I remember Max Payne. Give me more of the berries. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first game I ever modded anything on. That was like my starter game for modding. And there was a really cool guy who came up with a kung fu. It was like a kung fu mod and a matrix mod and all this stuff for Max Payne back in the day. He taught me a lot about looking at code and being able to, okay, well, this does this is that. You got to go line by line and look at this and this and this. And translating that code, because oftentimes it'll be it's not encrypted, but it'll be a certain file type. And you can't just like, oh, well, this little dot here means this and this and this. No, you have to translate that into English and pull it up on like a notepad or a hex editor. So I went on to do Bridge Commander. Now, Bridge Commander never got an expansion pack. It was a Star Trek game. It never got an expansion pack. It never got a big upgrade. It never got anything like that. But the modding community, what? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, was that kind of one of those one and done projects? Like they kind of threw it out there and then pretty much abandoned it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things was that they said was, no, you cannot saucer separate the Enterprise because the computing needs for that are off the chart. To do a saucer separation like that, you would need a computer the size of like a apartment room. Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of people that got together and created what's called MBAM. And what MBAM did was it spawned two ships in. Instead of actually separating the ship mid-battle, you got a little tiny cutscene where you see the ship start to move apart. And what it did was it spawned two ships in and spawned your ship out. It was an ingenious piece of coding. And what it did was it circumvented what the devs thought they could do. The devs never thought, we'll spawn two ships in and move your ship out. So you can do the saucer separation. There's all kinds of things. There was a Deep Space Nine mod upgrade where you could fly around the Alpha Quadrant and go to Deep Space Nine and go through the wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant and fight the Dominion and all kinds of cool shit.
Ingenious. And yet
they are wanting to go after shit like this.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make any money off of it. So imagine, and this is big in Warhammer. Okay, this is big in Total War Warhammer. There are creators making money off huge mods. So imagine you're playing Total War Warhammer and you wanted a whole bunch of extra units and all kinds of stuff that's more in line with the board game. Well, they've got that. They've got all kinds of stuff. They've got all kinds of crazy stuff you can do, modify your game to have all this extra cool stuff from the tabletop. But they want to get rid of this. They want to get rid of this idea because it makes them look like It makes them look like crap. That's the way they're looking at it. Well, this mod has all this stuff. Why can't you guys do this? Well, somebody else did it. They want you to just be happy with the product you got. They don't want anyone else making money off of this stuff. Well, I just made the game better.
Exactly.
Come by my Patreon, download it, and you can have it. Well, there's updates and all kinds of things you have to think about. So you have to continue to subscribe to these people to get these updates. Now, for me personally, I have absolutely no problem with this. But I can see where a company is going to get kind of irritated that someone else is doing it better than they are.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. I'm kind of on the same page. Like I got no problem with people that want to mod things like that. But there is kind of it's not so black and white. There's a lot of gray when it comes to monetizing, mods to games and things like that, where people just become regulars at it and they start to make a few pennies. I can kind of see where, copyrights and, the whole sense of ownership comes into play like that. So I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
Ironcaster brings up a really good point. Games Workshop hated the 3D printer scene for cutting them out of the only source for minis. They stranglehold the cost because that's where they want to make their money. They say, we've got something unique no one else has. This is where we want to make our money. And now, because of 3D printers, basically you can print your own figures. They're out of that scene. You can just print your own figures, color them yourself, and bada bing, bang, boom, you're done. You don't have to pay insane amounts of money to get your figures.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that were like really big into that in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it's like, oh, guys, let's go to Games Workshop. And I never got into it, but I went anyway because I'm like, oh, look, the figures are cool and shit like that. But I mean, geez, when these guys would go and buy their little tiny starter packs or little additions, 3 or 4 characters, they're popping like 30 to 50 bucks, just to bring these guys home and put this work into them. And I'm thinking, damn, there's got to be a better way to do this. Holy crap.
Painting minis is an art form. No, I absolutely agree. I understand y'all have your dungeons. They do. They have dungeons where, you go into the store, right? And there'll be like a basement floor and you see them all down there. They painting the minis and super, super intense looks on their faces as they paint the little guns or they paint the little bows and arrows. And coloring them. Yeah, I know. Coloring them is a sin. It sounds like you're just coloring in on a coloring.
All right, guys, get your little action figures and get out your Crayola waterproof markers because we're gonna color the shit out of these little friggin' whatever the hell they are. Yeah,
and they admit, and this is the big thing. It's all about money, ladies and gentlemen. It all comes down to they want more money. Arwen Avalon says minis used to be affordable depending on which ones you wanted. This is the way the boardroom heads are thinking. And you've heard this story before. If we can get more people to play, we can get more money. If we just make the game more inclusive, where everyone feels like they can play, we'll make more money. Companies don't want to be on life support. That's the thing. They want to be at the top of their game and they want to be making all of this money.
Yeah. In the black 24/7. Yeah. It's all about the dollar bills, ladies and gents, because I mean, once you start to get the profit margins rolling in, it's really tempting to do whatever you can to start to make a little more.
So what do they want? They want to sell more product. And they think, oh, well, you know what? If we just change this, if we just change that, if we just make this more this, we're going to make all this money. And they're not. They're not. Wizards of the Coast lost 40% profit last year. They're down 40%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
They've canceled multiple projects. They're trying to erase the past as well. So there's this thing called the Renaissance Guard. Have you heard about this? You're gonna love this because we've got this in Star Trek too. Zero Renaissance Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Renaissance Guard refers to people like us before the big changes in Stowe.
Right.
We're the Renaissance Guard. And then when they went and changed everything because they're money hungry little bitches,
they changed a lot. A lot.
We basically got told to screw off. They didn't care. They don't care about us. We don't care about you. If you don't like what we've done, leave. That's exactly what I ended up doing eventually, was leaving. I was like, you know what? I don't have to. Oh, we'll give you a T6 Enterprise. Fuck you. I've been asking for that for years, and you bastards said you'd never make one. Oh, well, you're leaving now. We've got a T6 Enterprise.
We'll roll around on our T3 Connies and blowing up shit like that. But yeah.
So I ain't Valhalla's bitch. Kronos. No one said you were. Don't tear down the statues. Don't tear down what statues? What are you talking about, brother? Skull.
Statues are. We understand that. We know what that is.
That's right. Joker Voice with $10 super chat. Mr. J.
I haven't found you yet, Joker, but I know where you're sleeping.
Oh my. Let's see if I can do this correctly. It's when these companies start to feel their grip slipping. They start attacking the ones who put them on top initially. I'm looking at you, Disney. Keep talking dragon, please. Yes. Yes.
I was getting some Tim Curry vibes there, because you'll float too.
You'll float too, Georgie.
So
they all float.
They all float. Thank you, Joker Voice. I think he wanted a dragon.
He wants a dragon. Ask and thou shalt receive. Let's burn the village down this morning. Skull! Yes.
That's a
I can't
spicy
remember.
meatball.
I can't remember what it was that I was watching, but maybe it might have even been a game. I don't know. But this guy's walking towards this guy on the ground. The guy on the ground's begging, no, no, no. And the guy goes, yes. It's just like, yeah. You want to do those voices. You want to sound.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was getting some Palpatine voices like, no, you will die.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power.
Oh, and for the record, Joker Boy still isn't pregnant.
Oh, I don't know whether to congratulate you or feel sorry for you. I'm not sure where we're going with that, but hey, props to you.
That's right. That's right. Keely Chow, roll tide, brother. Roll tide.
Fire.
So what are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do? Oh yeah, unsubbing. Kronos, I don't know what's going on this morning, brother. I hope you're all right. Keely Chow with fireballs. Thank you, Keely. Roll tide, brother.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you, because you'll probably have a better grasp on this as a creator, as opposed to me. So, as a creator yourself, what does this do to you, like in your day to day as a content creator, part of your livelihood? What does this whole thing mean to you?
It means that they're going to start putting the squeeze on anyone that has anything to do with any kind of third-party art, third-party programs, third-party ideas, third-party inventions, third-party additions. There are plenty of people that come up with all sorts of really cool things. It's like inspiring the imagination. So the guys over at Pathfinder, the guy who did the game Pathfinder, they will, freely admit this all started with Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And they modified some things and they created some things of their own. And finally, they were like, you know what? Let's just make our own thing. And they did. That would never happen under the current license of what Wizards of the Coast wants to do. Ironcaster says the wording of this OGL license implies they could claim your YouTube stream.
So do you think that would, I mean, not necessarily cause a mass YouTube exodus? I don't see that happening, but I could, it was something I was going to bring up last week because you were talking about other platforms to share your content on. And I'm thinking, because someone in chat had asked, could this be the beginning of the downfall of YouTube? I don't really think so. Not in the foreseeable future anyway, but I think it could cause a lot of people to start to shift to a much less restrictive platform to share their content with. And then in the grand scheme of things, we could just be repeating the same cycle over and over, but with all these new platforms. It was like the start of television, then the fall of cable TV, everything going online. And, I mean, it could be a couple generations, but it could just keep repeating itself. So do you see a lot of people start to gravitate towards these other platforms to get their content out there?
I don't see any way they can enforce what they are trying to do besides people monetarily making a profit off of selling something. You can't monetize people talking about something. So you can't say, you know what, you over there, you can't talk about this item, because the video game companies have tried this before. Naughty Dog tried this when The Last of Us 2 came out. You can't talk about our product. If you do, we will insta ban you and get you in trouble with YouTube. And literally, there were people at Naughty Dog calling the YouTube links, calling them and saying, the mods, and saying, look, you need to flag this, you need to flag this, you need to flag this. And they just mass flagged them for Naughty Dog. So they mass flagged channels whether they did anything wrong or not. They mass flagged channels and got them in trouble, and YouTube went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what happened to Ryan Kendall. Ryan Kendall didn't show any scenes from the game. He just talked about it, and they flagged his channel and tried to get him shut down because he dared speak of what was going on with The Last of Us 2. You can't do that. It's illegal.
Yeah.
YouTube followed through with it because there was an overarching issue of leaks. Okay, so the ending of the game got leaked. We all found out that one of our favorite characters was going to get removed, and Naughty Dog had a reason to go ban everything, hit everyone. Anybody who talks about this, take them out. You can't do that with someone just discussing something. If they did, that's without any legal reason, you could sue. And that's exactly what some people were gearing up and getting ready to do, sue, when they dropped the hits on each channel. Well, that doesn't help me if I get a strike. If I get a strike and I'm off the air for a week because of some bullshit some company tried to do, what am I supposed to do? I've already lost that week.
Yeah.
So you try and be careful, but there's times where no, I'm not going to be silent. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to keep my damn mouth shut. And I shouldn't have to. I should not have to. Nobody should. Especially when you're talking about something, reviewing something, having a discussion about something. No. So Dean Krantz, who's been a member for 1 year, 15 months, is a warrior of Asgard, says, when Wizards of the Coast stopped paying Weiss and Hickman for Dragonlance, it was then I saw something like this coming. YouTube does their bidding and Rumble grows. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They make that phone call and they say, hit anybody doing this, or they just straight up give them the channel number. They give them the channel URLs. Well, which one do you want me to ban? Anyone that's using this in the title, anyone that's doing this, anything that's doing this, all of these channels here. Here's a whole list of channels that have talked about this already. Hit them. And they do it. And then they have to go back. When you fight it, they have to go back and actually look. And you have to prove your innocence. You are guilty. You are guilty until proven innocent. And that's the way it works.
It's crazy. Absolutely. I mean, I do want to bring this up too, because Ironcaster brought up a good point in there. The big tell for how things go with D&D is going to be what Matt Mercer and Critical Role do. They could move to a whole new system. What's your take on that? Because I mean, I've watched them several times, and I'm not even really a D&D guy, but I love how they do things. I love how in depth they get. So what do you think? I mean, do you think they could kind of be the catalyst to what the whole fallout from this is going to be?
That's a really good question. Can you? Okay, so let me ask you. I'm gonna flip this around on you real quick.
All right.
Let's say that you create mods for board games. Okay, so a board game comes out, a tabletop game. I won't say board game. I'll say tabletop game. And it doesn't come out with any kind of expansion or any kind of growing, anything like that, which would be nigh impossible these days. Almost everything's got some kind of expansion bundle, something. But it doesn't come out with anything. You've got this really great idea of making the game a bigger thing. And you do that. And it's not anything too complicated that you literally couldn't do it at home. So you've got this great idea, this do it at home expansion to a tabletop game. You turn around and you're like, I've worked really hard on this. You put up a Patreon, you tell the people on the Patreon, come and subscribe to me for a month, and I'll give you all the information on how you can do this yourself at home with all of my ideas. And it really expands the game. People pay you for that. They go on your Patreon, they subscribe. You only got one level. They come in, let's say it's $1, something simple like $1.
Right.
But over the course of a year, you've made $10,000 off of this.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. So
now that game company finds out that you have done this, and for whatever reason, they get their knickers twisted and they decide to sue you. So you take it all down. You remove it all. You take it all down. But you decide, I want to make my own game. So you make up your own game with this expansion as a base. What Wizards of the Coast is saying with all of this, and what's telling here is, you would still have to pay them. Because it was through their game that you got your original idea, so you owe them royalties.
Yeah. So therein begs a question. If they come after you for that, I mean, would you just like turn around and say, okay, here, have all the money I made. Leave me alone. No,
nope.
Absolutely not. So there to interject really quick to go with what you're saying. The issue that I would have is probably the same issue that anybody would have, because the whole premise of doing these tabletop games or anything D&D related, anything at all, is you're kicking in the gears to get the imagination going. And if your imagination, regardless of what you're doing, is going to start to take you places and you're thinking, how can we expand on this? How can we do, this new scenario that we kind of want to do? So you kind of, you gearhead your way into that sort of thing. So even, and I do want to stress this, even if you don't care to monetize your idea whatsoever, the temptation to share that with everybody else is always going to be there. And that's a really great temptation, because you're kind of giving back to the community. You're expanding the lore in your own kind of way, even if you don't want to gain a single monetary, whatever for it. The temptation's going to be there. So I Oh God, it's rough because if you were in that situation, Loki, and chat as well, even if you had no goal of making money off of anything, I mean, really, how would that make you feel if you just put that out there for public domain and everybody just starts coming after you like, well, you need to pay us or you need to pay us? That would make me feel like crap, and that would probably turn me off from the platform that gave you this great pillar of creation to begin with.
No, you're absolutely right, but they don't want that.
They don't want that. No.
What Ironcaster is saying here, Wizards of the Coast wants receipts on how much you earn. They also have a morality clause. If you istophobe, they can revoke your right to sell your work and they get to keep it. They own the rights to anything you create. So think about it like this. Think about it like this. Back in the day, me and you played Stowe. We played Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
Let's say me and you got together and decided one day, you know what? We want to make our own space game. These idiots over here have screwed up this game. We don't like it anymore. It's not enjoyable. They took all the fun out of the game, which they did. They made it just one incessant pay to win grind.
Yeah. And I do want to mention something else that perfectly goes along these lines too, but continue.
So we go off and we make our own game. According to Wizards of the Coast, because of that, they own our game. And they own all rights to our game.
Mm-hmm. So, because I mean, see, that's an absolute crazy thought. Because to me, it just doesn't make sense. It does and it doesn't, because that's like saying, well, I'm going to make a game where you fly ships around in space. I mean, the way they're making it seem is just like anything you do that has any semblance to anything they've done before, they have the right to claim your ass, And the point I wanted to bring up to go along with what you were saying is, do you remember, Loki will know this, do you remember the Foundry in Stowe?
Yes.
It was basically where anybody who played the game could download, a creation kit, for lack of a better term, and create their own missions and, things within the game.
Yep.
And they got a lot of high praise. Number one praise being, oh, these are, 9 times out of 10 better than the actual in-game missions and shit. And what happened? They took it all down.
They took it all down.
They took it all down.
And the reason why they took it all down was people were making ways to grind in those personal missions, those fan created missions. They're finding ways to level up their character faster than just playing the game. Oh, well, why do I want to play the game for 5 days straight when I can go into these missions and I can play the game for like half a day and I've got a maxed out character?
Yeah.
The grind's not there. The desire, and this all comes back to money. By the way, they want you to buy the tier 2, the tier 3, the tier 4, the tier 5. They want you to buy all these different tiers of ships.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to do that if you can get through the main game and max out your character in half a day. Why do you need the lower tier ships if you can get to max in a day?
Yeah.
Shum also wants you to get through this.
Yeah. Shum also says the primary reason was that it kept breaking after every update. I can totally understand that too. But yeah, it was just a little point I was trying to make, how, you have the tools, the in-game provided tools to expand the horizons of this, little environment that you're in.
And Undead Ramen, really quick. Let me hit this. Everything is about money. All games are like that these days, especially video games with DLC.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah, don't get me started on the DLC, because I've been a victim, because I've forked the coins over for whatever. But yeah, it's true.
So let me ask you this: why? So PC has been dubbed the M race because of the way video games can be quote improved, added on to by a community, instead of having to deal with DLC on consoles.
Yeah. Let alone In addition to being improved on, let's not forget that games can also be fixed from fans, bug fixes and all that.
So imagine this. Imagine, because someone brought up Bethesda earlier. Imagine not having a bug fix because the community's done it for you. And under these rules, that immediately makes anything they've done yours.
Yeah.
So for a company like Bethesda, who is lazy about rolling out updates that actually fix broken missions,
instead of breaking new ones,
imagine a community bug fix just being claimed by Bethesda and rolled out as an actual update, and you've done all the work, and they don't have to give you any credit for it. This is them fixing it.
Yeah, because we've been there. I've played shitloads of Skyrim. I mean, hell, this past couple months, I finally broke the 2,000 hour mark on PC alone. But therein, lies the golden question about anybody who plays anything Bethesda. Would I still have played it that much without the fans fixing things and adding new things for us? Probably not. I still enjoy the base game, but if given the choice, yeah, I will take a fan-created project that improves the gameplay, and it would be like that for anything on any platform. If you've got ways to improve it, why not?
And what Ironcaster says right here is the point I'm trying to make. A bug fix they could then sell and deny you any acknowledgement. They don't have to give you any credit. That's going to kill the mod scene. No one's going to want to work. No one's going to want to do all this. No one. They're just going to say, screw you. I don't care. Screw you. I don't care. Muggy Jeebus with $2 super chat. Penta, penta, penta. Mexican Ninja Penta. Do we need a Penta this morning?
Penta. I don't know. I could go for a Fanta. I'm in the mood.
I am working on new skulls, ladies and gentlemen. So we should have new skulls soon. But for now, we're going to OG. Thank you so much, Muggy Jeebus, for that $2 super chat. You guys keep the fires burning bright here in Valhalla, and this one's just for you, Muggy Jeebus. Skull!
That's refreshing in the morning. A Xenomorph Alduin mod needs to happen.
Go pour a Fanta for Mexican Iron Man and smash that like button. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, because he'll be smashing his way out of somebody's window later on.
That's right.
Woo!
Jumping out of windows.
Frisky little devil.
God.
Oh, God, yes.
Too much sugar.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've been living off coffee so far.
I've had to cut all the sugar out. So not all of it out. I still do some carbs and I have some sugar in my tea, but not like a giant amount. But
like, here, Loki, would you like some tea with your cup of sugar there? Let me flavor that for you.
So anyway.
Yeah.
None of this is gonna hold up. I highly doubt it. They're just gonna ban the mod community. So all they're gonna do is they're gonna ban the mod community. You can't take other people's stuff and do what they're doing. You don't own it. Just because someone comes up with an idea, you don't own that idea just because you said I got here first. So good luck. They're just killing it. D&D's on the way out. And here's the problem. This is what's really going to break these poor bastards and what they've done. Kronos, get woke, go broke. They're not going to have the community there to keep it alive this time.
Yeah,
you see,
it's a lot. Like you said, really quick. I mean, like you said, it was 40% of profits last year that they missed out on. I mean, that's almost half So if you think about what you got in your wallet or your purse right now, just lose half of that and then see what you can do with it. It's in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot of coin.
It's a lot of money. We're talking, we're talking at least 40 to 60 billion dollars.
Yeah, that's because I mean that means a lot of fans were turned off. I mean, that's for lack of a better term, way to alienate the folks out there.
D&D was always my favorite of all the tabletop RPGs. Mine too. And there's so many things that are based off of D&D and Wizards of the Coast. There's so many games where it starts there. They have a problem. There's no one left there that realizes this all started from Tolkien. This all was pulled from Tolkien. All this idea is not Tolkien, but Tolkien. All these ideas came from him. So they did that. They did what they're accusing other people of doing. The care for these things is gone. The love for these things is gone. It's just money. Get greedy, get gone. Cygodorf9 with the $2 super chat. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Greed. Thank you so much, brother. And speaking of greed, we're going to throw you $1 this morning. Score!
A dollar? I've never seen a dollar. Nobody's got a dollar. Let us see the dollar. There it is. It's beautiful. Take your hat off, boy. That's a dollar bill.
Take your hat off, boy. That's a $1 bill.
So
what's going to happen? What's going to happen when there's nobody left and no one gives a shit about this? They've spent the last, almost 10 years now, saying, oh my God, it was so disgusting having a group of white guys like totally hold us up on their backs for the last 20, 30 years while we slowly died. But now we're back and fuck those guys. Guess what? Those guys aren't going to be there.
Nah.
Those guys aren't going to be there for them. They aren't going to be there when this all comes crumbling down. You lost your emergency brake in case of shit happens.
Because when that whole changing of the guard happens, you're losing everything that built up, that established, the whole thing. I mean, you're losing everything that was previously established when that whole changing of the guard comes in, and it's going to be rough. I don't have a timeline for it. I don't know. It's a tough guess, but God, it's just weird. It's just weird how the greed just corrupts everything. It's easy to understand.
We are the old Renaissance guard that they want nothing to do with.
Yep. The dying breed.
Oh my God, be careful. Zero, be careful. Because there's like toxic orgs and original Renaissance guard. Those guys, they like totally think that they should have fun while playing Stowe. It's like totally sick. It's terrible.
Bro. It's bro, man. Bro. I totally swiped my dad's credit card so I could finally get my T6 ship up to where it's supposed to be, so I can play some endgame stuff, so I can win a whole bunch of crap I already have no need for because I already bought it with the credit card. Yeah, it's rough. It's I'm sorry for that horrible rendition, but to summarize everything, I totally lost my train of thought because I was just broing the hell out, man. My God. But I mean, if you think about it, like when you say we're the old Renaissance, the OGs, that's exactly where we are. And when we start to get, again, for lack of a better term, alienated and pushed to the side, that whole core group is just going to go with us and they're not going to come back. And then that whole environment that you've built around those OG creators and fans and anything like that, when you take that whole environment and shape it around to your own way of thinking, none of those people that were there to begin with are going to want to come back to it because it's now something they want to just have nothing to do with because it is so far removed from what they helped create and build and live in and love to begin with. It's gone.
And Dean, if you played Stowe back then, I guarantee you saw one of us running around
Oh,
in an
probably.
instance
We
somewhere.
were
In a
out there and
shard. They called them
everywhere.
shards. back then.
Shards. Yeah.
Shard.
We were out there. We were, we talk a lot of shit about it, and rightfully so. But man, we did have some fun. And
Well, we did some shit they said couldn't be done.
yeah. And it was
Taking
funny.
on the Borg Queen on what was it? On
in
Extreme, whatever it is. In T1 Connies.
In T1 Constitution cruisers with what? Two 4 weapons and an aft weapon.
Yeah, 2 forward weapons and an aft weapon.
Oh,
And we
my
took down the damn Borg Queen on Insanity, whatever it was, extreme difficulty. There's all kinds of crazy shit we did.
Yeah.
So,
and the bottom line, folks, I know I've probably said this before, but if it wasn't for Stowe, Loki and I would not be here today, because all it took was a little zero back then, just posting a little, read at your own discretion kind of thing on the fleet board saying, hey, looking for a good group to join with, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody named Loki contacted me. And now here we are, all these years later.
Nerboreal asks favorite Metroid game. Metroid is the GOAT. Super Metroid for me.
Oh, God. You know what's funny? I mean, again, to go with the topic, how many ROM hacks of Metroid games are out there? People just go nuts for it. Favorite? Honestly, that's a tough call. I mean, Super Metroid is classic for a reason. Metroid Prime, 21 years ago now, my God. That one blew me away. Absolutely. Like, first 3D Metroid game, that was freaking absolutely insane. So I will always kind of have a biased opinion for that one. Absolutely fucking loved Dread. Dread was unbelievable. But short and easy answer, yeah, Super Metroid.
Metroid Dread. I am the law.
But they each have things that make them stand on their own merits. In my opinion, anyway. But yeah, I am the law. Shoot the little space critters in your T1 Connies.
I don't know. I love Super Metroid. It opened my mind to the Metroidvania. Oh my God. What's this up here? Let me run as fast as I can and jump over this wall and get into the secret area to get this.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, I remember sitting there playing it, and my friends, Kent and Chris, would watch and be like, dude, how did you even know that was there? And I'm like, because I photographed memory, the fucking strategy guide, bitch.
Yeah.
And I know where everything is.
Yeah. Let alone, I mean, if you were a kid like me who didn't have a whole lot of strat guides to it, do you remember the feeling of stumbling onto something by complete accident and what that does to you? Because then you start analyzing everything like, oh, now I have to 100% every friggin' screen. I have to shoot every pixel I can find, because it was just mind-blowing.
So
anyway,
I got asked a question by one of my kiddos. How do you know where you're supposed to go? I was playing, I don't remember what I was playing, but they asked me, how do you know where you're supposed to go? I think I was playing Chrono Trigger. There's no arrow. There's no anything to tell you. I said, well, we didn't have that shit back then.
Nope. Not unless you had the power. Nintendo power.
We didn't have arrows to tell us where to go.
Yeah.
We had to figure that shit out on our own.
Yeah, we didn't have.
There was no, oh, hey, can I borrow your phone so I can look up how to do this on the internet?
Yeah. If you wanted a walkthrough, you had to buy a book for it. Later, Bacon.
Oftentimes that was impossible.
Yeah.
It was like, you were lucky you got the game. I had to work a whole summer to get Final Fantasy IV.
Jesus.
It was 2 in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It was called 2. It was originally 4. And it's the one with Cecil and the Dragon Knight Kane. I had to work an entire summer to get that fucking game.
Yeah.
And my dad was already pissed I was getting the game. He had to take me across town to Toys R Us and was like, get a damn video game. My God, this is the dumbest thing I've ever had to do. You kids and your money spending them on games. And
Dad, I worked for it, Dad. I
worked all damn summer. I want my damn, I did it for this.
Yeah.
I did it for Final Fantasy 2 on Super Nintendo. and I got it, and I made sure it was the updated one too. Now that is one thing I knew about that a lot of people didn't, was that SNES would patch games. And I figured that out because of the Game Genie. I was like, why is there like a original and then a 1.1 and a 1.2? Why do they do this? And it never went beyond 1.2.
Yeah, there's
So-
another thing that falls into the realm of what we were talking about today. You know, when Galoob was getting sued by, well, you know, Nintendo and then anybody else saying, "Oh, well, you know, you're using our code to alter our games. You can't do that." And Galoob just kind of said, "All right, yeah, come at me, bruh."
Yeah, they did, and they won.
And they won, you know. But to go back to what you were saying there with your kiddos, like, well, how do you know where to go? Well, back in that day and age, which still has some relevance today, it paid to explore. And if you ended up going somewhere where you weren't supposed to be and you got your ass kicked, well, that's a lesson learned. Now you know not to go there. You have to analyze things. You got to remember, you have to retain this information, which is kind of a lost cause because there were no arrows, there were no auto saves, you know, there was nothing like that.
Y'all ever copy maps in your notebook at school from friends who had? Yes,
dude, I've still got a game notebook right to my right here on my bookshelf of games and shit. I mean, dude, my buddy, who I've known forever, he still has hand-drawn maps for the first Legend of Zelda that he just crayoned the shit out of. And you know, because it was the whole premise of what we're talking about. It was forcing us to use our imaginations, to think outside the box, literally.
So one of the things I figured out really early on, and it was probably, honestly, this would be the first time I ever modded something, even though I didn't really know what I was doing. I started playing Metal Gear, the one on the NES, and it gave you 6 lines of code that you had to copy down. So it was like,
I feel asleep.
5A, B, 4, blah, blah, blah. And then you'd make 6 lines of this code, and that's what you had to put in when you restarted the game. Okay. Well, the more I wrote these down, the more I started to understand what they did, what they were responsible for. So I could literally change the code and give you like a handgun or an Uzi or a rocket launcher, or increase your health, because you had 5 different levels of health. And that was represented in the very first line. It's one of the only ones I remember exactly how to do today. So if you had, when you started out the game, if you saved right away, that's going to be a 2. And the reason why that's going to be a 2 is because you have a life bar and then you have a star. Okay. So you've got the stars represent how many life bars you have. So once you upgrade to max, it's going to be a 6. It's always going to be a 6 because you have 5 stars and 1 life bar. Every time you lose a life bar, it takes a star away. Now, every time you eat a ration, it brings you back up to 5 stars, but 5 stars is the max. So if you have 6 at the beginning of your 6 lines of code, and I know this is boring, but that 6 represents the fact that you have 5 stars and 1 life bar.
Yeah.
And you can change that whenever you want to. It's not something that's like overly complicated. A lot of what the 6 line of codes represented was your exact position in the game. The rest is whatever you have on you and what you completed.
Yeah. And for the record, I don't think this is boring. I mean, how I remember back in the day upgrading when N64 came out. And I don't know if anybody remembers Game Sharks, but they came out with that. Yeah, they came out with that contraption where you could actually make your own code just by literally searching for unknown value searches or known value searches. And one of the first things I did was mod the shit out of GoldenEye. I'm thinking, you know, it'd be really cool is if I never ever had to reload a weapon ever again. So I not only had infinite ammo, but I made a code where it gave me infinite clips. So you just run in there, hold the trigger down, and have at it. You know, it wasn't the coolest thing, but those few split seconds every time, it kind of saved you a little bit.
Well, the perfect way around that is to modify how to stop the bullets in your clip from lowering. So
Mm.
instead of having infinite ammo, what you can do is you have infinite number of bullets in your clip.
Yeah, that's what I
And-
meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
And
always
that's
stayed at, you know,
that's
whatever
the
it
easiest
was.
way. Yeah, you just freeze
Yeah.
that number and boom,
Mhm.
you're done.
Yeah, and there it was.
But you know, if you do that today, apparently you're going to get sued.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. But
So
yeah.
can you sue someone? And this has been dealt with already. Like you brought up Game Genie, Game Shark, all these companies that made editions, even physical editions, because the Game Genie and the original Game Shark, there was a device that you actually had to add on to the unit.
Mhm.
So with the Game Genie, you had to put the cartridge in the Game Genie and put it in the Nintendo. With
Yeah.
the original Game Shark, you had to take a piece off of the PlayStation in the back and plug that in. Now, eventually, it just turned to discs because it became much easier to hack a PlayStation because all you had to do was hack the RAM in the PlayStation. You didn't need a device to get past something to hack it. You just had to have a disc. Same thing with the PS2. PS2, you just need a disc and a memory card.
Yeah. And I know it sounds barbaric and stuff, you know, but you think about, you know, using the workarounds to do that back then. You know, if Apple or Microsoft or whatever came out with a computer and then someone wanted to mod that using the same, you know, resources, oh my God, what kind of hellfire would that start? Jeez.
That's right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the OG Xbox mods, I do have an OG Xbox, modified OG Xbox that has a replaced CPU, bypass on the RAM, and an open device that lets me put whatever hard drive I want in it. Because that was originally every hard drive on an Xbox was coded specifically for the console it was with. So you couldn't add and subtract. Even though it had the ports for it, it did have the ports for it. You can't, you couldn't add memory to it because it had to go along with whatever console it was with.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have prattled on.
We rambled
and prattled and changed subjects, and
but
what it
hopefully
comes down to is, if you create your own content, guys, create your own content. Fuck these companies, especially if they don't appreciate the fact that we've got so many creative people that love this stuff, that love these games, that love this content, and fuck them if they don't want to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Go somewhere that does. Do your own thing.
Absolutely.
Do your own thing. Create your own games. We've got one of the greatest creators that has done that in this fellowship, Adega Outlaw, that has just gone off and done. I'm just gonna go off and I'm gonna write my own stuff. Make your own games, write your own books, do your own podcasts. Everything you can do on your own. You don't need anybody else's help to do it.
Damn right. And if someone comes up to you with an attitude, you say, "Eat me." No,
That's
really.
right.
I mean, say you get a fat cat coming after you for doing just such a thing. And he's like, "Oh, well, you know, we're going to sue you for $3 million. Like, just laugh at him. It's like, dude, I don't have 3 million. So good friggin' luck.
And yeah, just go look at Seth.
Excuse me, CBS. I'd like to make a really great
Star Trek. We don't want you, Seth. Go away.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I'll go make my own with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah. Yeah. And look how well that did.
Look how well that's turned out.
Mm.
Guys, we're out of here. We will be back later tonight for a members only stream at 5 p.m. If you're a member, can't wait to see you then. 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Has it been a month since the last one already?
It's been 2 months because I didn't do one in December. I got busy. I'm sorry. But we're gonna catch back up and we're gonna get back on track to 2 a month. 2 a month.
Woo.
So until then, guys, until later tonight, all you members out there, take care, be excellent to each other. Always speak friend to enter. We'll see you guys on the next Mornings of Mischief ZeroHour. Take care, everybody.
Adios, muchacho.
Adios, amigos.
Damn.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.